How you guys doing? We're back again. This is going to be the Cleveland Lead Series. This is going to be number 5. If you want to look at the other ones, they'll be attached to this one. They'll be below, and you can click and watch those if you missed them. Basically, we're going to tell you how to prepare your house for a lead inspection or lead risk assessment.
Basically, we want to have you be prepared when the lead man comes a calling, because he's coming a calling. He's knocking, right, Marko?
Yeah, he's going to be knocking on your door.
You've seen signs on houses, right?
Yeah, they're putting signs up already.
It's a serious situation coming.
There's a big difference between lead assessment, lead inspection, lead clearance, and we're going to talk about a couple of them today. A lead inspection basically is where they probably won't do this because they'll need an X-ray gun. When they do every single surface and tell you what lead is in the house, on what trim, on what wall, what ceiling, and then usually that is what they use for if there's government money involved in grants and things like that. Lead assessment is where they look for to see if there's anything that could be dangerous to children, like peeling paint, friction surfaces on windows, friction doors.
It's basically
exposed soil.
It's a lead risk. They're just trying to determine the risk in your house, okay? They're going to come in there and say, well, this house has low risk. The kids aren't going to get poisoned. This has high risk, okay? So there's two different things, but we're going to tell you what to do and be prepared so you could pass it. You don't want to flunk these tests because they're a pain if you flunk them.
And they're probably going to look for items. Now, if you have some of these items in your home, you're going to have problems because you're going to have to hire, they're probably going to expect you to hire a licensed lead risk, a lead abatement contractor or an EPA certified firm. So none of this has happened yet, right? We don't know you have lead, right? Because it wasn't tested. It needs to be tested before it's lead. So you may want to prepare your house before the lead man comes knocking.
So you can have lead in your house, but if you do things right, it's not going to come up, okay?
So we're going to talk. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit, right? What do you want to do
first thing we're going to do, okay, they come to inspect the house. They see lead chips on the ground. You fail, okay? And they'll pick those lead chips up, send them to the lab, and you're guaranteed that you're going to have high levels, okay? So what you got to do is there's two options. One, you remove the soil, and they 6 inches down, and then replace it with new soil. Or an easier thing that people do, they cover the soil with what, wood chips?
Wood chip. Like here, yeah. This is you'll see here. This was exposed dirt, and when I came a knocking, because I'm a lead licensed assessor, I was going to do lead clearance testing, and guess what? When I see this, I can't test this. So you know what? Like Jim said, you might want to consider all exposed soil areas. You might want to clean up and possibly cover. Covering is with concrete, very expensive. Covering with grass takes a long time to grow. You know, covering with leaves, very temporary till the wind blows, but maybe mulch or stone. And here's where the dog was digging holes, you know, maybe you want to cover that up. And also the neighbor's garage. If the neighbor's garage is peeling paint, you want to put the mulch there too. You want to cover it. Okay. What's the second thing you want to do?
Okay, and then you want to go to impact surfaces. Now this is an impact surface. It's a concrete one, but in many homes they have wooden porches, and if there's any peeling paint on those, it's an issue. Simplest way to do it, and maybe not the most desirable, but you get indoor outdoor carpet, boom, you glue it on it, and you're not going to have any lead on the surface.
So right, like Jim said, if you've got porches, carpeting it, you know, with carpet, or you can cover it with new flooring, right? Or,
exactly.
But you can't paint it, okay? You can't paint it. Now, what you're looking at here is a mat. Now, a lot of times, if they're going to do a test, like the front door had peeling paint, and they may want to test the floor at that point. Well, I usually, you know, will tell my clients to get mats. When people walk in the homes, they clean their feet off on a mat. So your feet are dirty, you can use your mat. Mats help out significantly, and the inspector may look at that or may test that mat, okay? If he does have to test it, you know, they're going to do what's called wipe test. And we talked about this earlier. You want to look at our other shows that explain how to do this. But on a floor, he'll take a 12 by 12 wipe test, and he'll test it, and that'll end up going to the lab.
Okay, so moving on the outside, we got peeling paint on siding. Of course, it goes without saying. You got to scrape this and paint it. You can't have any peeling paint on the house. That will get written up, okay? Because you know, inspector could just take a little bit of that paint off, put it in his bottle, and off he goes, and you're going to have high lead.
And you know, you need to also look, especially if you're getting called in right after the winter, you've had icicles and ice dams. Look at those soffits. They're going to look up there, man. These guys are going to look up there. They're going to look at the overhangs, the soffits, the wood trim. You know what else they're going to look at? Those old windows. If you got old windows, those wood windows, the inside of the trough area and the sashes, they're always got peeling paint and failed glazing.
So that's thing. Primarily go to the windows. If you got old windows, you got to paint the trough. And actually, even before they come, if they're coming on a certain day, open that window, because if you lower that window and it's got any dust on it, it's going to fall into that trough. So you want those troughs to be accessible and clean, okay? And it goes without saying, the cleaner your house is, the greater chance you're going to have of passing any sort of inspections or assessments. People use a HEPA, HEPA. That's something that it has a special filter, so you're not going to be blowing the lead dust all around the house.
Yeah, they call it high efficient particle air, and so it'll pick up all the small particles. So that would be a way to clean it. But I think, like Jim said, you got to make sure that there's no peeling paint in the house. Now here's a picture of a window. You want to make sure there's no paint chips in here. You want to make sure that there's no chew marks on the sill. You want to make sure that the doors, your house doors don't have friction and there's paint chips on the floor. Sometimes the doors have friction. You want to make sure that any leak that you have from ceilings and plumbing, because if they see plaster peeling or moisture, they're going to want to test it. So you want to cover all that. You want to paint all that, okay? And then you want to basically clean up the dust. If you got old carpets, you want to clean up the carpets, right? You want to clean up the floors.
And then wash everything final time. Again, you could be cleaning that up until an hour before they come, because the cleaner it is, I mean, you could be cleaning and then 3 hours later somebody steps in and brings in some lead. So you want to clean it as close to the time that they are arriving.
So, the bottom line is, the guy's going to come a knocking. You're going to look outside, exposed dirt, peeling paint.
You can't have any of that. You got to cover the soil, remove the soil. No peeling paint. Front porches, no peeling paint. Put on a carpet. You can paint them, but it's a high risk because it's an impact surface.
Then he's going to look inside your house, and you got peeling paint in the basement walls because your foundation leaks.
Got to paint the basement
friction
walls.
Doors, windows. You got to have all that nice and clean. And then he may still do a wipe test. And if he does a wipe test, here's what you do. You want to go to the window wells. That's where he's going to do a wipe test, in the window well and on the sill, if he does one, and on a floor. So you want to get baby wipes and wipe that down. If those baby wipes are dirty, you're going to flunk. So keep wiping the windows and the window troughs and the window sills over and over until your baby wipes is clean. Then you want to wash the floors, all the floors, especially at the entrances. And you want to use clean water every couple minutes. And the water's dirty.
Yeah, trisodium phosphate. You use automatic dishwashing soap. You put that in powder and have 3 buckets. You got the dirty water, the rinse water, then the clean water.
And then maybe you buy a Swiffer, and that's a
good one.
And then right before you see him get out of his car, hurry up and Swift and tell your tenants or your kids or whatever to sit on a couch, because the minute they walk around, they'll cause a problem. So if they start doing dust testing, you want to pass. And if you flunk, here's what's going to happen, right? If you flunk, they're going to make you hire contractors.
You could do it yourself before it's been. If they identify lead in your property, they're going to, give it a bad name and say this is a lead property. But if they come out there and don't find any lead, even though there might be lead, you're okay. So again, Marko's got another a full video on this on YouTube.
Oh, by the way, if you want, there's a couple of videos. If you want to pass your lead clearance test, just punch up pass your lead clearance test interior or pass your lead clearance test exterior. And there's a whole YouTube video, and it'll explain to you how to pass if you need to pass. So they're pretty good videos. You could punch in the word Cleveland in there somewhere, and the videos will come up. They're the only ones on YouTube. So we're going to do another one, number 6, real soon here, right? What's that going to be about?
That's going to be about the cost. We're going to talk about cost.
Cost associated
okay.
with this. And we're going to tell you a couple more things that are going on that you need to know. So, hey, thanks for coming on. Please rate, subscribe. And by the way, we'll attach the other 4 or 5 that we've done. You can watch those if you missed them.
Okay, thanks.